Hello everyone. Today we would be analyzing a game played by two relatively lower rated players. Both are rated around 950, and I would try to understand their thought process and also find what common mistakes they make. And the intention of this video is to provide guidance for beginners or lower rated players on how they can think in a chess game or how they can improve their elo and improve their play. So let's get right into the video. So the game begins with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and this is like the standard position. It is it is reached uh, around 644 million times. We can see it is really commonly played, but there is a saying that there is a saying that people who play this are usually beginners or players who know everything about the game, so absolute masters. And black has three opening choices here mainly. There is this move d4, which is the Scotch game, and this is a very beginner friendly opening which I would highly recommend to play for beginners as it follows basic opening principles, and also you quickly castle your king, so it's quite a safe sound opening. There is bishop c4, the Italian game, which is also a good opening for beginners but also played quite frequently at the highest level. And there is the legendary bishop e5, the Ruy Lopez, or the Spanish game, and I would never recommend playing this unless you're a grandmaster because black has so many responses. Black can play the Berlin, black can play different kinds of sidelines like bishop c5, knight e7, a6, and black just has so many options and so many different playing styles. Also, white has many options. So, if you want to play bishop b5, then you would have to study a lot and you can still lose the game easily. So, okay, back to the game. So, Scotch game was played. The whole point of Scotch game is this is considered the main line taking the pawn. And now, after 94, black can play black can play knight f6, just develop their pieces, put the bishop on. After knight c3, put the bishop on b4. This is considered like the main system. But also, black has other options here, like the Scotch Gambit by playing bishop c4. And the whole point is, black is trying to put some pressure on f7 and also gain rapid development. And this pawn is quite weak for for black, so it would eventually fall. This is also a very sound opening. White can play this, and there is the more aggressive one, which is the Goring Gambit. The whole point is after we capture on c3, black would play bishop c4 like the Scotch Gambit, and after we take on b2, bishop takes b2, and now we can see the evaluation is almost equal, like minus zero point 0.2 is nothing, and black has this amazing bishops. White can castle quickly. All of white's pieces would join in very harmoniously, and black is still behind development. So I would never recommend playing this as black. This is very dangerous. You would easily lose in 10 moves. So those are the main options. But black here immediately plays an inaccuracy, which is d6. The whole philosophy behind playing e5 was was to prevent white from ever playing d4. And if d4 is played, then you're always supposed to capture the pawn. And And now white punishes black immediately by playing d5. The whole point, you gain more space in the center, and also you kick out this knight. This knight has to block its own bishop or come back on b8. Black marches forward and just gives up a pawn instead. So okay, so white is down a pawn, black is down a pawn, and the objective whenever you're down material is to quickly develop your pieces and form some sort of an initiative. So you can complicate the game more and have better chances of equalizing or winning. So some ideas would be trying for a queenside expansion, or just castling and playing for f5, or trying to castle queenside, which is a little more risky. Okay, white is playing fantastic so far, just developing their pieces, not really doing anything. And this is another one of those moves which is just doesn't achieve anything. So of course it's an improving move because you are controlling the b5 square, but it is the opening. You are way behind development. It is only the seventh move. So you should just play bishop e7 and quickly castle. And bishop b5 isn't really a threat, knight b5 isn't really a threat. So you can just chill and play bishop e7, and or or what's the move? Yeah, bishop e7 is the move. I don't know why engine is disapproving it so much. Okay, uh, a6, and now after bishop g5, bishop e7, and again this is probably the first inaccuracy white makes, and the point is it is a quite a useless move as the rook cannot come to h3, and also this bishop can always be kicked out by playing h6. So you're not really controlling the g5 square by playing h5. Okay, black castles, decent move. Now again, there is no point in playing bishop e3 when you can play bishop bishop d3. This is just a more active square, and you would be eyeing this pawn, and you might have ideas to play h5 h6. Okay, c5. Now clearly black senses here that they are kind of smothered. They don't have much space. White has so much space here. So they try to free themselves, and from that perspective, it's a fantastic move. But they miss this En-Passant, and after castles, this just leads to a permanent weakness. And also, white is doing fantastic here as white would start an start a kingside attack, and black's king is relatively safe. White doesn't take it, white retreats, and now black plays knight g4, attacking the queen, putting some pressure over here. So it's a fine move in the sense you are trying to fish your opponent. You are trying to, make them commit any mistakes. Captures, and queen g3. Trying to, after the bishop moves, trying to have some kind of an attack, and also there are ideas like bishop h6, trying to threaten checkmate. Again, these are very superficial ideas, they can be easily prevented, but I can understand why lower rated players go for these. Okay, captures. Okay, so black retreats on h5. Now, this is an inaccuracy because you are giving white a target and they can later play f3, g4, and support the advancement of their pawns using the bishop as a target, or you can say like a punching bag. And that's the reason why you're supposed to retreat over here. And also after f3, you can see how this bishop is just blocked out of the game. And it would be, and black would have to play something like f5, weaken their position even further to activate the bishop. Okay, captures, captures. Again, this isn't ideal as you're opening up the white rook. And after bishop g3, bishop g6, white plays f4. And now pause the video, and if you remember, black is down a pawn. So do you see a way on how black can win back the pawn? If you found out bishop e4, then you're correct. The whole point is after knight captures, you're gonna play queen e7 and easily win back the knight. After queen f3, you can play rook e8, and after castle, you can capture the pawn, capture the knight. And the point is, you would win back this pawn, so the material would be equal. Okay. Uh, Again, I think both of them don't know En-Passant. That's why they're playing. That's why they played f4 here. And this is again a decent move, except black can take like this. And now white has these amazing pawns. And now I think white can play f5, and after bishop e8, they can now castle. And white's plan is to double up the rooks, and this pawn would be quite tricky to defend as the bishop is out of the game. Okay, they take like this. And again, this is a blunder. You can see the it was +2 and now it is almost equal. And the point is, you can play queen e7, and after, okay, so the best move is king d2, but let's say after knight e3, you can just capture on f5, and the whole point is white cannot castle here because the knight would be hanging. So if they try queen f3, you can just, I think, you can double up the rooks, but you also have here trying to win the pawn like this. So, and after castles, you can sacrifice the rook. Right now. Oh, you can, sorry, you can capture on g5. Sorry. Okay, so castles. And again, so white has castled on the queen side, black is on the king side, and we can see that white's attack is quite fast. They can double up their rooks, they can move the queen and try to push the g pawn, and this would be a very scary pawn storm. So black has to do something quickly, and black finds the correct idea, which is to launch some kind of an attack on the queen side. But it would have been better to play b4 here. And the point is, after you play a5, notice how this square is weak. And now you cannot play b4 without some additional preparation. So again, the correct idea but the wrong execution. Okay, a4, and now rook h5, trying to double up the rooks. Not a bad move at hindsight, but now black can immediately play b5, and if captures, then you can play queen e8, and this would be a double attack. So By putting the rook over here, black gets this trick and they can play b5, and that's why it was equal. Okay, black plays a4, trying to play a3 and safe, undermine the king's safety here. Okay, white doubles up as they were planning, and now this move a3, and this is a good move as after b3 you have c5. I will show you later, and also you're trying to take and open up your rooks. Your queen could also join the attack, so now you're just fast enough to be able to have an equally threatening attack as white has. Before, black was way behind, and and uh, basically black took way more moves to launch an attack. But now over here black is just in time. That's why the evaluation is equal. Okay, b3, and now white plays this amazing move c4. The whole point is you're trying to take on b3. If c captures on b3, then the c file is opened, and black can apply tremendous pressure on the c file. And if a captures on b3, then you have this passed pawn. So this was a very good move by black. And now you might think that okay, it's a lower rated player, so they just uh, miss the bishop can take the rook. But actually, white had some interesting idea. This was the whole idea. White thought that after the bishop moves, then queen h8 would be some kind of a threat. And now you were just supposed to play this simple bishop g6, trying to cocoon your king. White goes for bishop f5, and here white had this resource g4. And the whole point is now now you cannot put your bishop anywhere on the diagonal, and you would be forced to give up the material. And now the whole point is you can play queen c8, and if they go back, then you have queen f5, and you defend the h7 square. So the only way that black keeps the material was by playing bishop g6. That's why it was so winning. White just sees the check and they give the check. Queen h5, and again they had the opportunity to play g4. They play g6, and now again black is forced to give up the bishop, and now black captures the f4 pawn, thinking that it's a free pawn. But I think white can give a check here, and after okay, if here then there is this check, and after queen f7 there is queen h5, and if king g8, then there is this move knight e4, and the point is you cannot capture because of this check, winning the rook. And white is trying to play knight g4, and this would be very very dangerous. Okay, black found the first correct move, but then went all the way back, and now white's queen. The reason why it is so losing for white is white's queen gets into the action by playing queen g5, threatening mate in 1. Rook f1 would be checkmate in 1. And white unfortunately doesn't respond to it. They forget. They play g3, and you shouldn't really blame them as both of them had really low time here. They were playing with very low time. And here, um, winning the queen is much better than the mate in one. So black decides to win the queen instead, and white resigns. So that was the game. Please comment any feedback you have about me or about the game if you want to discuss anything. Also, comment if you would like to see more videos like this. We could cover games from different rating levels. We could cover around 2000, 2200 rated games. We could cover even high rated games, maybe of IMs or GMs. So if you would like that, if you would enjoy those kind of content, then please comment. And once again, thank you for sticking up to end. Thank you for watching.